biggest reason that people give up on their vision, their dreams, is because of the hormones of stress. And stress is when your brain and body are knocked out of homeostasis. Stress is when your brain and body are knocked out of balance. The stress response is what your body innately does to return itself back to order. You have 3 types of stress. You have physical stress like trauma, accidents, injuries, falls. You have chemical stress like flus and viruses and bacteria, blood sugar levels, hormones, hangovers. And then you have emotional stress like single parenting, second mortgages, 401ks, family tragedies, kids, finances. And all of those things knock your brain and body out of balance. Now, all organisms in nature can tolerate short-term stress. The deer in the woods that gets chased by a pack of coyotes, the moment the deer sees that external stimulation, it turns on a primitive nervous system called the fight or flight nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, and it mobilizes enormous amounts of energy to prepare itself for that threat in the environment. And if the deer outruns the coyotes, 15 minutes later it goes back to grazing and the event is over. It returns back to homeostasis. Short-term stress, we can all tolerate that. But human beings are a little different because they could have a confrontation with a coworker or their boss, and they can perceive that boss as a predator. And what was once highly adaptive now becomes very maladaptive. Because when you turn on the stress response and you can't turn it off, now you're headed for disease. Because no organism can live in emergency mode for extended periods of time. And it's a scientific fact. Most people in the Western world spend 70% of their time living in survival, living in stress. And if you keep mobilizing all of this energy for some threat in your external environment, there's no energy in your internal environment for growth and repair. There's no energy for long-term building projects. You've tapped the reserve, and the immune system becomes compromised, and the body breaks down. But human beings, because of the size of the neocortex, can turn on the stress response just by thought alone. You can think about some future worst-case scenario in your mind, and you can attend to it to the exclusion of everything else and make it real. Or you can unfold the past bitter memory that's tattooed in the recesses of your gray matter and bring it to life, and your body experiences the same chemicals. So then, if it's a scientific fact that the hormones of stress downregulate genes to create disease, and I just said you can turn on the stress response just by thought alone, that means that your thoughts can literally make you sick. So if your thoughts can make you sick, is it possible that your thoughts can make you well? Poke the person next to you, please. Now, those hormones of stress are highly addictive. They give the brain and body a rush of energy. And people begin to use the conditions and problems in their life to reaffirm their emotional addiction. So then, if you're using the conditions in your external environment to reaffirm your addiction emotionally, that means you can become addicted to the life you don't even like. And if you can turn on the stress response just by thought alone, and the stress chemicals are addictive, you can become addicted to your own thoughts as well. And this is why change is so hard. And so when you begin to react to something or someone, we've measured this, you draw from this invisible field of vital energy and you turn it into chemistry. And the field around your body literally shrinks. And if you keep doing that, that vital life force diminishes and diminishes, and you have no energy for healing or no energy to create a new life, because you are now matter trying to change matter. And when you reach that point, you will always try to force the outcomes in your life, control the outcomes in your life, predict the outcomes in your life, and hold and cling on to things that you find important. Because the very hormones of stress cause us to become materialists defining reality with our senses. And the rush of those chemicals cause us to believe that the outer world is more real than the inner world. And when an organism is being threatened and being chased in its environment, it only has a few options: run, hide, or fight. That's it. So if you're living by the hormones of stress every single day and your senses are heightened, it means then that you become more of your body. Because if you're being chased by a predator, you put your attention on your body and you got to take care of it. Your attention goes on the environment, the immediate environment, and your environment is made up of people, places, things, objects, pets, time. And then, of course, you're thinking about time. Where am I going to go and how much time do I have to get there? And people begin to fall into the illusion that they think they're their bodies. They think that there are their identities that's connected to people and objects and places. And they think that time is linear. And we become enslaved into this dimension. And over time, it's going to take time to get things that we want in our life, our goals or our dreams, because we are matter trying to change matter. And you have to drag your body through space to get what you want. Back and forth to work to pay for the house and 30-year mortgage. We become enslaved to 3 dimensions. Now, that state of creation, you will no longer feel separate. And we've measured this many, many times. There comes a moment when you are truly in the present moment that I call the creative moment. That you are so present with whatever you're attending to that you forget that you have a body. You forget your identity. You forget about things and places and people and time. And in that elegant moment of the generous present moment, you become nobody. No one, no thing, nowhere, in no time. And in that moment, you become pure consciousness. And if you do that properly, you just walk through the door to the quantum field. Because you can't enter that place as a somebody. You go as a nobody.